Okay, today there are so many questions. What led to a courtroom hearing for a restraining order? Him filing for a divorce after being caught having an affair with their teenage nanny. Now, why is the wife's best friend refusing to even speak to her after so many years of being close? Here's the story that has a whole family torn apart.
I was devastated.
Our nanny was very pretty at the time.
It's like my heart just dropped out of my body. My husband had an affair with our children's nanny.
She was always saying, you know, oh, you're so hot, and building me up, and it just became real easy to flirt with her.
When I first found out about Brandon's infidelity, I was hysterical. I was devastated. She was like our daughter. She was only 18 years old. Knowing that it went on under my roof while I was here healing from just having a baby was too much for me to even handle. I said, you get every single thing out of that house and you get out.
The affair started being flirty with each other. She smacked me on the butt, made several passes at me. I'm an older guy, I got a receding hairline going. Our nanny was very pretty. She had tried to tell me that it was all my doing, that I pushed myself onto her. But how hard is it to force somebody to unzip my pants while I'm trying to walk down the hallway, and then she starts stick. I can't force somebody to do that.
He's got his kids in the house, his wife in the house, his wife's best friend in the house, and he's the nanny.
Her point of view is that it was rape, that he would give her some type of narcotic that would make her not remember. His side of it is it was consensual.
They've had over 5 nannies. I mean, there's so many nannies that have come and gone, like they'll be there for 2 or 3 days and then all of a sudden they don't want to work there anymore because of Brandon. So we find out that Brandon has been sleeping with another nanny who had written Amy an email describing the whole seduction. Oh, you slept with Brandon. Oh, well, so does everyone else, so I guess just take a number.
I've had one affair since we've been married, and that was with our nanny.
Brandon's called me a bitch, a whore, stupid, worthless, ugly, fat. In March of this year, I filed a restraining order against Brandon. He told me he was going to kill me.
She was afraid for her life. We felt that a bullet would come through the window at any time.
I got a restraining order because I really was scared for my own safety.
Well, 5 months into the divorce, there was a new development. After Amy said she feared for her life, got a restraining order, and learned about the affair with their teenage nanny, there was this new deal. According to Brandon, he's a changed man, working his way back into Amy's life and back into the house. Now, Amy says she's having second thoughts about calling it quits.
Amy says that he has changed. I find that hard to believe.
My husband, Brandon, has changed for the better.
Amy said that Brandon's undergone counseling, and I don't really know what that means.
I do believe that Brandon and I are meant to be together.
Having a restraining order and putting all of her friends in the court and saying, this man is vile, he's all the things that he is, and still she thinks that he's changed.
I have been continually seeking help from a very good doctor that's allowed me to be a better listener and a better communicator.
There was a time where I was extremely happy, beyond happy to divorce Brandon, and now I am considering he might be the 1 in a billion people that actually changes.
Okay, now, let me get one thing straight from the beginning. We're not in violation of any order by being here.
No.
Why'd you want to be here?
When we split up, I did a lot of soul searching for myself. I actually moved out to back home with my father, and I started living in his barn. And I put a lot of things into perspective for who I needed to be. My dad said a couple of things to me, you know, like, who do you want to be for your sons? And when he said that to me, it changed a lot of aspects of my life. And I looked at the way that my mom and dad raised me, and I just don't want that for my sons. So I knew that I could be a good husband, that I just needed to work towards how I could do it.
And you didn't know that before? You didn't know that you had sons before? You didn't know that you had responsibilities before? You didn't know that your actions impacted them before? It's just when your dad said that That was the first time you ever thought about that?
Well, no, I did know that, but before I was extremely selfish, and I think that's where I was stuck. I was stuck in a really selfish behavior. I was completely immature. I didn't really care what other people thought about me. I would just do what I wanted.
So you think he's changed?
I do.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Was what he was doing before, was that grounds for breaking this marriage up?
Yes.
I mean, had it reached a threshold where you said, that's enough. If this is who he is, I don't want to be married to this guy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what he did before was enough to break it up, but you now think that he has changed.
Yes.
I take marriage very seriously. I take your marriage very seriously. There are children involved here. There's a marriage involved here. But I'm going to ask hard questions. And because I want to get things on the table and get you guys where you can make an informed decision. Now, you're her best friend, and you're not speaking to her. Why?
Because I think your decision to be with Brandon is very disruptive to your children and to myself and to your mom and dad and to everyone who loves you.
And what business is it of yours?
It's my business because I'm in her life every day. I live around the corner. We know where each other is every 5 minutes. We talk all the time. I am involved because she's involved.
So you care for her?
Yeah.
Why aren't you talking to her?
Because I have ridden an emotional roller coaster with her for the past 8 years.
And you think he's full of it?
Yeah, yes.
Why? Tell me.
I do.
What do you think?
Because it's a cycle. Brandon and Amy right now are in the cycle that has been happening for the last 8 years. It's like you do something nasty and then Amy cries and gets upset and I cry and I get upset and then he comes back, I've changed, I'm so sorry, I'll never do that again, I'm a new man. And then 2 weeks later, it's back to the same old behavior.
So what do you think of Heidi? What do you think of her being here?
You know, Heidi can sit there and say, oh, Brandon does this cycle, he does this cycle, he does this cycle. But the fact of the matter is I do my best to stick by my wife. I've made some major, major mistakes. And I just didn't go to counseling for 2 months. This is something that I started and that I continue to go nonstop. And it's something that I'm going to continue to do.
You're in therapy now?
Correct, sir.
So sticking by your wife is calling her a stupid whore and fat and ugly and
Is
degrading
sticking by your
her?
husband doing what you did in the past? I mean, that's something that I
That
did
has
in the
nothing
past.
to do with what is right here, right now, Brandon. The show is not about
But you're
me.
talking
It's
about what I
you.
did in the past, and I'm telling you what I did in the past was
You're
wrong.
going to do it again in the future, Brandon.
And no, I'm
This
not.
is-
I know better than to call her names. I'm not selfish. I'm not
Well,
immature. And you can say what you
that.
want, but we can talk about past. We can talk about past. We can talk about past.
Then
and the
there's no
cycle
point.
that you're
There's
going to
no
run
point
with
of
the
even
past that
being
you've
here.
had is way uglier than mine, so I don't even want to get into that.
I don't care. I have nothing to hide, and this show is not about me. If you want to do a show about me, great. This show is about
He's
you
asking,
and Amy.
He's asking what I think about you, and I told him.
So you don't have
Whatever.
much faith in
No,
him?
I don't. And you know what? I don't go over to her house to see those babies because he's in the house.
How often are you going to therapy? You told us you weren't in therapy.
Oh, no, yeah, I have been.
That's not what you told us. You told us that you were not in therapy. You said that you
No,
had been, but that you weren't anymore.
No, I've been continuing
No, that
to
is
go.
what you said.
Well, then that was a mistake on my part, but I have been continuing to go.
Well, I think you make a lot of mistakes
Yeah,
about what you
you'll
say
find
versus
that
what
out.
you do. You said you're not in therapy.
Okay.
Now, did you or did you not tell us that?
Well, then I must have if I said it, but I know that I'm continuing to go to therapy. I have been going to therapy. You do have
Hold
a
on.
professional
Hold on.
staff. That's why you have me on, you look in good shape, when they had me do the push-ups, and the way that they depicted that on the TV, it's like, come on.
Hold
That's
on.
not, that,
Hold
I
on.
don't do
Hold
that
on.
kind
Hold
of
on. Hold
push-ups
on.
in front of women to try
You
to
said that
appease them
you-
is ridiculous.
Well, in fact, we talked to your therapist, and that's what they told us.
Which one?
Well, do you have more than one therapist?
Well, I kind of talked to two. There's two that I do talk
He
to.
kind of talks to two.
One of them I deal with work.
Do you go?
Sure.
Do you go every week?
No, not every week.
Because I'm trying to figure out if you're making a concerted effort to do something about this.
Yes,
And I'm wondering
haven't.
why you told us
talked to-
one thing if it's not the truth.
I-
I'm wanting to know whether you're a truth teller or you kind of massage it to fit where you are at the time.
I go to one counselor, and I've been seeing her for the issues that I've been dealing with her, and then I've been having some issues.
How long
at work.
since you've seen her?
I'm not sure exactly.
Did you have an understanding about what was happening?
My understanding is that he was going. This is the first that I've heard that he was not going, and that is a lot of the reason why I'm here is what is real and what's not real, because he is very convincible and very believing.
Okay, well, I think we got to get everything on the table, and I'm going to give you ample opportunity to respond to all of it, because I think you need to and want to, right?
Sure.
You want to get it on the table. And I told you I'm going to ask hard questions to everybody here. It is my business because y'all are here and you've asked.
There was always very violent behavior coming from Brandon. He would cause the dogs to fight.
He punched holes in the wall.
Brandon told me that if Amy doesn't shape up, she's going to be put into a concrete block and no one would ever find her.
I've never threatened my wife's life, ever.
Well, we're talking to Brandon. Now, he is a firefighter who's been separated from his wife, Amy, because she filed a restraining order against him following the events of his affair with their teenage nanny. Now, Amy's decision to let Brandon back into her life is tearing her 8-year-old friendship with Heidi apart.
My relationship with Brandon has ruined my relationship with my best friend.
She doesn't want us to be together.
Right, but
she's going to do whatever she can to distance us.
Can I please talk for a second?
If those two can stay away from each other, I will absolutely be her friend.
She is not calling, texting, coming over to see the kids.
I'm heartbroken. If she has a shred of self-dignity, that she will not take him back. I cannot believe I'm losing a best friend over the devil incarnate.
Okay, now, have you been horrible or have the times been horrible? How much of this is your responsibility?
50% of it, at least, because the times are horrible, and then I take full responsibility for my actions, but it led me to behave a way that I shouldn't have. And it was a way that I never behaved before, so.
But you do feel like you've changed?
Yes, and I am working more towards that, to be a better father and husband to my wife.
I want to see what you've changed from, because we got to get that on the table so we know what we're changing to. What was your thinking in having an affair with this nanny?
It was just I wasn't really thinking. It was just a stupid thought, and I felt flattered, and she made passes at me, and the flirting happened, and it's something that went on.
That is completely false. Nanny number one would not make a pass at you, Brandon.
Heidi, you were never there. You don't know.
I lived in the household the whole entire time.
You didn't see what was going on.
Yes.
Okay, did you ever see me touch her then?
Brandon.
No, you didn't, so you don't know what really happened.
Brandon, you would walk around in your boxers.
That's my home. And
Yeah,
unfortunately,
and I live there, and an 18-year-old nanny lives there
and
as
nonstop,
well.
we've had people living in our house, and you wonder why I get so frustrated. We constantly have people living in our
This has nothing to do
house.
with the fact that you are the one that initiated things
I didn't
with
initiate
her.
anything. She initiated it.
That is a complete falsehood, and I would like Dr. Phil. Thank
she
you.
says, the nanny says, and we'll refer to these by their number. Well, there is a list. You know, there's a list of allegations.
I don't even care. That's fine.
You know there's a list of allegations.
I know. That's...
And I want to give you the opportunity to either confirm or, because you acknowledge that you had an affair with this nanny that we're talking about. She says that you gave her painkillers and sleeping pills and then virtually raped her in her bedroom.
That's absolutely not
that
true.
you drugged her and then forced yourself on her.
That's absolutely not true.
Okay, well, that's what I want to know. You're saying that's not true. Did you give her painkillers?
No, that's not true.
Were you taking painkillers at the time?
Yes, I was, for my left shoulder.
Did you give her any of them?
I didn't give them to her. Me and Amy would sometimes, I'd take some of hers and Amy would take some of mine, and sometimes she would take them out of our drawers, but I never gave them to her.
That's
I never
not
took
true.
them
I've seen him physically put them in her mouth.
You've seen him physically put painkillers in your nanny's mouth?
Yes.
And you said to yourself,
I got to get out of this. I've just had 2 shoulder surgeries. What do? I've got 2 kids. No family.
Okay, but you see your husband putting a narcotic in your nanny's mouth.
Right.
What did you say to yourself at the time? Because
it's ridiculous.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that I'm kind of country, but that's going to send off a warning bell with me.
Oh, it was more than a warning.
So I'm trying to get to the bottom. Are they wrong about that? They're saying they saw you do it. Here's two people that say, no, we saw you do that.
I never took a pain pill and put it in our nanny's mouth. And the passes that she made at me, you know, what you're not getting here is when I left the house, the day that, you know, me and Amy separated, Heidi was living down the street from her, you know, and then her and the nanny weren't talking at all. Well, then all of a sudden, Amy needs all this ammunition, so she's gonna gather people up and around to get people onto her side. And Heidi's gonna believe anything that she says. And I can sit here and go round and round with Heidi, and I can sit there and tell you what she used to do in the past, but it doesn't.
I don't want
matter.
ammunition.
You are your own ammunition against yourself.
Your
own
that.
behavior is damning enough to yourself. We don't need to sit
Right,
and collaborate
and so is
with
yours.
each other.
So is yours, but I don't sit
This
here
show
and
is not about me, Brandon.
But
it's
you
about
came on
you.
here to prove your point, and I think
No,
that a little bit should be known about your
I came on here to help
past.
my best friend.
You know, here, let me date
for
this guy.
7
And then I
years.
was dating this guy. The reason why you dated her brother is because they owned a store, and you wanted to get money from him, and then you were dating 50-year-old guys.
This is
In the
Brandon.
past.
And this is the
Brandon.
stuff
This
that
is
she
what
does.
Brandon has always, this is coming out. I have not seen this since we have spent time together. This is the first time I have seen the
That's
old
because
Brandon
we've had
come
Heidi
out.
living with us nonstop, or Heidi's been around nonstop.
Non-stop, Brandon?
Well,
Yes.
you got me now.
One of our favorite nannies just up and left one day. I called her. She said Brandon asked me to give him and I was shocked.
Brandon has propositioned me. He told me, I'll let you hang out with Amy if you let me.
Other nannies did all tell me separately that Brandon would send them dirty text messages. My own husband doesn't even talk to me dirty. I didn't believe it.
Well, it's never a good sign in a marriage when a wife goes to court with family and a former nanny for a restraining order against her husband. That's a bad sign. A husband who admits to a love affair with that same nanny was there. Now, Amy did just that, and now she says she wants her husband back because she's changed, although she says she's seeing some things here today, because clearly this is uncomfortable, which I totally understand, but we've got to work through this. Her mother, Cindy, and her best friend, Heidi, says, no way, not possible that he's changed, and they want Brandon gone, 100% gone.
I filed a restraining order against Brandon.
On record in the court of law, I spoke about his emotional abuse, his spiritual abuse, his mental abuse, his physical abuse.
We did not talk or speak or hear of each other for 4 months.
Brandon was away. They both obeyed by the rules of the restraining order, and there was no contact. And then Brandon came back into the picture.
Brandon and I started to spend more time together.
I knew that she would just get back together with him anyway.
I would be disappointed for him to come back into the home if he is still who he was.
I drive past her house when I go to the grocery store. I drive past her house when I go to work. I drive past her house for everything. Oh, and how perfect would it be that Brandon's car is in the driveway? Ugh. When I found out that Brandon and Amy were seeing each other again, I called her mom and dad. I called her lawyer. Amy's in violation of her restraining order. She's breaking laws. This is going to screw her in court. He is restrained by law against being 100 yards, and she has violated that restraining order. He has violated that restraining order, and now they're happily living forever after in this house.
Are you two living together again?
No.
Are you staying over there some?
Some, yeah.
Yes, sometimes.
But you have a restraining order.
No, the restraining order has been dismissed.
Okay, but you've...
Oh, this is news. So you've dismissed it
The
again.
show told me that I had to for us to come
No,
on.
no. The show doesn't give you legal advice. You have to decide what you're going to do. You can't come here in violation of a restraining order. Are you living together?
No.
Well,
Are you
need
spending
to
the night
quantify
there?
what that means to them.
Are you, I got it. I got it.
'Cause they don't get it.
No, I got it. I've done this before today. Are you sleeping together?
Not in the same bed.
Oh.
Are you?
Yes,
Are
we
you?
Please.
We do
Are
sleep
y'all
in the
having
same bed.
sex again? Are you being intimate?
We have a few times.
You have a few times?
A few times.
Okay. So,
She wants to downplay it.
Okay.
Girl, just tell the truth. We need help.
I need help.
I know you do.
Okay, here's what I want to know. You did have an affair with this nanny, and you say that it happened, and this, by the way, was 3 months after you had had a baby, right? And you acknowledge that you had this affair, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you say that she came on to you, like you're going down the hall and she's unzipping your pants?
Well, it was mutual flirting. Yeah, I mean, it started with the mutual flirting and
Does
stuff
it
like
matter?
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Who came on to who?
Okay, she says this was rape, you gave her pills, and that you harassed her for a month afterwards. You say no, not true.
That's not true.
Okay. Well, it's been 6 months since Brandon filed for divorce. Now, Brandon filed for divorce. Understand, he's the one that admits that he had an affair with a teenage nanny. Amy says that she wants to divorce him and then marry him again so they can have a fresh start and just be together forever. No. Is that not right?
That would be a great possibility, though I don't know if I'm seeing the
Well, what
things
part of
on
that did I
stage.
not say right? Do you want to get a divorce and then get remarried?
I do want to get a divorce, though I will not get remarried again unless he is a completely different person than who he was.
Okay. Why did you have 5 different nannies?
I had over the course of, I was in a motor vehicle accident in December of '05, which have resulted in 3 reconstructive shoulder surgeries. He had just started a new job. He was completely unable to help with the children. I have no family in the area. Heidi was in the car accident with me. She was also disabled. I had a brand new born baby, another baby who was only 13 months apart from that baby. I couldn't physically take care of the children.
How's your temper? Because you had problems with it before, right?
In the past.
You,
I mean,
in fact,
I've never
you
been
knocked
violent.
down every door in the house, right?
Yeah, and I told the story about that with your people that came in, videotaped it. Yeah.
Okay, you knocked down every door in the house. You've punched holes in the wall. You've had anger problems.
No, I have not punched holes in the walls.
You haven't knocked 2 holes in the wall.
What happened was that the doors that I did, that's something that happened 7 years ago. And I did come home because I found out that Amy cheated on me with one of my friends one time, which of course you guys are leaving out, but she cheated.
Not true.
I have another phone number for that you can also verify.
That is not true.
See, it's real easy for.
I want to get those.
It's fine because these 2 girls who have been collaborating, neither one of them have had jobs for some amount of years, and they can sit there and chip their teeth when I'm going to work nonstop, you know, doing my best, and they can collaborate their stories.
But we don't collaborate.
When
we
I
have
get
no reason to collaborate.
No, this isn't
But when
fun.
I'm getting hammered like this, you know, of course I'm going to come out with my guns firing.
There are phases
and I
that
have
we're going
phone
through
numbers.
here. There are phases we're going
Sure.
through. I told you I want to get it all on the table because you don't want to clean up part of this. You're going to clean it up. You want to clean it up all.
Correct.
Have you called her names?
In the past, yeah, I did. I may have. I don't really recall. I may have.
Okay, well.
Oh, I recall.
Have you called me names? Have you called me names? Have you guys called me names? Yes. There's name
I
calling
call
stuff
you
that you did in
names,
8th grade.
absolutely, the names
There you go.
that I
So
feel
you
are.
guys can point the finger at me all you want. He's a name caller. He's a name caller, but so are these 2. It's stuff that people do since they've been in the 3rd grade.
Brandon, I call you the names that you are. I don't come up with
So that's why I call you a whore, because that's
fine.
what you
if
are.
If that's what you think, then that's
Yeah.
fine.
I believe that Amy's tarnished my reputation. She'll say that, you know, Brandon's spending money on gambling or alcohol. Well, then my name automatically gets tied to that.
I will spend whatever amount of money we have.
I took a pay cut that made me feel inadequate as a father. And then I would hear things from Amy. It's like, well, you're supposed to be the father. You're supposed to be our provider. I took those things to heart.
Well, Amy's trying to decide whether to take back her husband, Brandon, after he was caught having an affair with their teenage nanny. Now, Brandon says that he admits to one affair. Now, I'm curious if that means that's the only one he's admitted, but there are others or there aren't others. I want to give him a chance to talk about that. Now, Amy's best friend, Heidi, and her mother, Cindy, say letting Brandon back in her life is a bad idea. But Brandon says, not true. I get it. Now I get it, and I have worked hard to make some changes. Take a look.
In the past, I've been very immature and selfish and always put myself first, but I know now that that's not the way that I live my life.
I think the only thing that will change Brandon if God himself gives him a soul.
I'm giving him an opportunity to show me that he really is different this time.
The entire time that I was living there was an emotional roller coaster. For my own sanity, I had to leave. Amy would throw him out at least once a week.
I don't believe that Brandon can change. I can't trust him.
My greatest fear is that this is a trick, that Brandon has gotten extremely good at making it so that I believe what he says.
Amy's relationship with Brandon has always been tumultuous. It's always kind of a cat fight situation.
I feel really sad for any of the pain that I caused anybody in the past because I actually feel that pain now. And before I really didn't care what anybody else felt or thought or anything.
I don't know where Brandon's head is for sure. All I can tell you is my perceptions. He really wants to make me happy.
Do you feel like you are getting painted inaccurately by these two?
Yes, I do.
You think she's out to get you?
I think some of her statements are true, because I did have the affair with the nanny.
Did you ever come on to her?
Look me in the face
Yeah,
and tell me that you never have.
One time we were at a party when it was probably about 8 or 9 years ago. I was at a party with a bunch of buddies and we were all drinking one night and I made a stupid comment. And yeah, and that's the only time.
What was the stupid comment?
How
do you know it was
It's so
stupid?
foul, you don't even want to hear it. And there was another time
horrible.
recently after Seth was born.
Let's hear about this one because I'd like to hear about that.
Amy was upstairs in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
She had gone to bed, and I was going to go out that night, and you were wanting me to take some kind of painkiller. And I ended up staying at home because Seth didn't have anyone to take care of him, and you said, hey, real quick, while Amy's upstairs, I can make you feel real good.
That's not true.
Brandon, you said that to me. I wouldn't make
That's
that
not
up.
true. Heidi, I think that you're hideous looking. I wouldn't lay a finger on you. I've never been attracted to you.
That's
You can
fine.
ask my wife.
If you weren't
I don't even think
attracted
that
to
you're
me, I don't
pretty
care if you're
or
attracted
cute
to me
or
at all.
anything. Why would I want to make a
Well, then why would you make a
physical
pass at me at a party?
And in the past,
Because
why
I
would
was
you
drunk
say
off my
anything?
tail. And that was
That's
8 years
an
ago when I was in my
excuse?
early 20s.
Okay, well,
And see,
I
now
don't...
you can see how they gang up on you. Right there.
It has nothing to do with
see, Dr.
ganging
Phil?
up.
That's what I'm
That is
talking
what
about.
you said to me.
I didn't say that. I would remember that. If I can remember,
admitted
if I
it
can
to me.
remember something
You
from 8
admitted
years
it to
ago,
me.
if I can remember, well, you guys also collaborated the story that you said that I was going to bury in a box, but.
Wait a
then
minute,
you
you said
you-
that.
you
You
just
said that to me in your car, driving me to the airport
You said
because
what?
you and
I'm
Amy
sorry, we
were
missed
upset
this.
at
Gonna
each
bring in
other.
a box of what?
He told me years ago that we were watching the news and some guy got caught for murder, and he said, oh, well, if I wanted to murder you, I would never get caught. I would put you in cement and no one would ever hear or see of you again, and I would
Fast
get away
forward.
with it.
5 years later, however many years later, fast forward, and I had no idea that he said that to her. He said that to me. He drove me to the
To
airport.
my best friend.
and
who's
said,
gonna tell me.
if Amy doesn't shape up, I'm going to put her in a cement block and no one will ever find her. And I'm like, why would you say that
Did you
to
say
me?
that?
No.
This is
Did
the
you say
same
it to her?
conversation about a jukebox.
I don't even know what.
He told me
I
he
made it-
probably said it to me, but
I probably
that he
said
was
it to her as
kidding.
a joke, you know, but I did.
that is
I
not a joke.
I already know that she
It's
hates me.
not
Why
a
would I go
joke.
tell her something
I don't
like
hate you.
that?
I'm not here to make things up. I'm not making things up about you.
don't-
I would
don't
much
hate me?
rather be.
You just told me that I'm the devil. How do
You're
you
the
not hate
devil
me?
incarnate. I don't hate you. I
Jeez.
just feel like you don't have a soul.
Well,
Based
neither-
on the
neither-
things that
Other
you
than that,
say.
he's fine, right? Okay.
All I know is before I met Heidi, I didn't have any kind of issues with people liking me or any, at all.
Okay, y'all started having trouble in '99. You said in '99 you started getting calls from other women who were talking to you about him.
Yes.
And so you had hints of his extracurricular, extra relationship activities in '99.
Yes.
And in all the time that y'all have been together, you're saying the only time that you've had an indiscretion was with this one nanny that went into court and said what she said. That's it. Other than that,
well, and like I admitted like I flirted around a little bit and stuff like that, but I never had any kind of relations.
Amy's best friend Heidi and Amy's parents say there's no way that she should take him back. Now, I know many of you viewers right now wish you could jump through the television screen and give us your point of view. Well, now you can with the help of drphil.com message boards. We actually invited a few people to share their thoughts with us about this so I can answer questions that you may have. So here's what some of them are saying. He should have said, I am married. I think the point here is that when the nanny came on to you, all you had to do was say, hey, boundary, fence, I'm married, back off.
Yes.
Okay? I think that's the point. Kate 45 says he's full of it. He can't get his story straight. Do you think there are inconsistencies in what you're saying?
No.
Okay, you don't think so?
I know what happened. Yeah, I admit that I had the affair.
Fine, girl. That is what I say.
Spitfire says,
Yes.
grow a spine. Listen, people obviously are frustrated about this. Is there anything you haven't said that you want to say? These two have made allegations against you. I haven't made a single one yet.
What?
I have some hard questions for you, and some advice for you. But is there anything you haven't said that you want to say?
Just that I want things to work out between me and my wife and us to, I mean, I know that we're going to have our ups and downs, but for us to hopefully be able to remain together and trust each other and have a good family life for good from now on and take care of our kids together. I live the American dream. That's all I've ever wanted. And, you know, in the past, I was just really selfish and immature, and I didn't know how to accomplish that. You know, I've done a lot of soul searching from the way that I was raised in my past, and I'm going to continue to get the help, and that's all I want is just some help.
Do you want to know what I think?
Oh, I wouldn't be here if I didn't, yeah.
Well, but you might have wanted to know when you got here, but now you've changed your mind. I don't know, because I haven't really weighed in on this yet. And I'm not interested in telling you what you want to hear in the moment. I'm not interested in telling you what you want to hear in the moment. I'm interested in what, if anything, can cause this family to survive long term. What can cause these children to grow up in peace and harmony long term. What can get, I mean, look, this is no dress rehearsal. This is life, okay? This is it. This is life. There's no dress rehearsal. When this one's over, it's over on this earth. So this is your one shot. And take it from me, we don't get younger. Right. Supposedly we get smarter, but we don't get younger.
Supposedly.
Okay, look, when I come in to do a show like this, we have a clock, we have a plan, we have a calendar we have to stay within. But this is not about television, it's about you and your marriage and your family and your life. And so I just don't like to hurry things. I have a lot to say to both of you about what I think you should or shouldn't do in this. I don't expect you to substitute my judgment for your own, but I am going to tell you straight up what I think, and I'm going to tell you why. And we are just absolutely out of time. We can't do that. So we're going to talk about this some more tomorrow. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.